Hey, man, appreciate you coming out, spending a moment with me. See you, my man. I want you to talk to me about how you do what you do. Let's just start with how you release off the ball, and then we'll go into how you get open and how you make that kind of a play.
Odell Backhamm Jr. made the catch with one hand for the touchdown. Wow, what a catch by the rookie.
You know, I've been catching balls for a long time. I've never made that kind of play in my life.
What can Odell do for you? Score. Oh, my.
This is where it all begins, and a lot of guys struggle right here. Talk to me how you had success on the release.
One of the biggest things for me was working my hands. I got pretty good at being able to swipe hands away, and then once I felt as if I can get the hands away, I can move. And once I felt like I can move, then I'm good.
Go through it.
They're going to put their hands out. It's certain things like that, grabbing in here and pulling or coming back here.
A lot of guys start trying to use hand movement, but don't tie in the feet movement with the hand movement.
You're pushing off as you're pulling yourself through. You know, it's not like you're just like trying to run through. You have to use it all in one motion. Once I feel like I can bing and get here, then the rest I just feel comfortable. Now I can do what I love to do and catch the ball. This was the biggest part for me, is just learning to take my weakness and try and make it my strength.
My route, I want to run slant routes. You can tell your mom and your sister that I'm about to run it, and they can still meet me at the first down marker. What is Odell Beckham's favorite route?
Right now, honestly, I say I love running a slant because it was hard for me to run a slant against press. You think he's pressing, I got to get inside, I'm running a slant. But you could go outside. You could use them, get them running.
Run that slant route, release on me, and then run that slant route. Hold on, let me take the glasses off here.
So, bam, we're running. You come right behind them.
I want you to show me a double move route.
It's like post corner, so we're running off. Bam, you break on the post, give the quarterback something, come back out over the top. Anything the way you can get them to bite or get out of position, or even stutter moves for me on a go route. I'll run it and just dip like that. And as soon as you dip, they gonna break.
It's interesting now. Is it a dip or a stutter?
It's a dip.
Because that's one of the things that I try to teach young guys. They stutter.
That's the explosive play that they're looking for.
That's a talented kid.
Heck yeah, that's a talented kid. Look at the most receiving yards per game average through his first 4 seasons in the Super Bowl era. 94 yards per game. The numbers he puts up, the way he does it, the fashion in which he performs is unlike, I think, anything we have seen in a long, long time. What did you glean from spending that time with Odell? And I know you talked to him since then.
And I enjoy spending the time with him. And you can tell in talking with him what makes him great. First of all, he's an anomaly in the sense that he is not that big of a guy, but he tells you his favorite route is that slant route. Man, most guys are going to say, oh, you don't want to run that slant. You don't want to run that slant. You're too small. But he's saying, no, I do want to run that slant because if I beat my guy, I can get that safety and beat him to the corner and make that big play. That's why he's averaging 94 yards. But also, even within that, we talked about the stutter or a dip. A lot of young guys will stutter because they're impatient. He talked about dipping. Once you dip on a stutter route, now the cornerback's biting because he thinks you're running in and out, and now you get upfield. That's what makes him incredible. He focuses on these little things, and he comes up, makes the big-time plays. That's why the Giants will have to pay him big-time money.
And how about the fact this isn't during practice, this isn't before practice. This is a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, Eli Manning, and Odell, who's either the best or the second best receiver in football, working after practice today.
And I don't think we talk enough about this. We're so enamored with all that he brings and all the things that are around him and everything. But we don't talk enough about the kind of work that he puts in and the time that he spends. You know, he doesn't have that contract. He's not upset. He's not out here proud. He's putting in extra work. He says, pay me now or you must pay me later, but you will pay me because I care too much about this game not to give it all I have.
And because of what he means to that offense. With Odell on the field, they average 20 points per game. Without Odell on the field, they average 14 points per game.
That's
they
huge.
average 65 more passing yards per game just with Odell out there on the field.
That touchdown you're talking about, that's huge. In this league, that could be the difference between winning a Super Bowl and not making the playoff. That 6 points you're talking about could be the difference between winning a Super Bowl and not even making the playoffs. That's how important number 13 is. That's how lucky number 13 has been for the New York Giants.
They have a stat in baseball called WAR, win above replacement. I would be curious to see what his win above replacement, meaning the average, is, because I think he might mean more to that team than any other receiver outside of Antonio Brown means to their team in the National Football League.
You know, I got to take that to my steam room study. That what is that called? WAR?
Win above replacement.
Win above replacement. What are you?
How much better than the average player is this person?
Exactly. And we just talked about him at least 6 points better than the last guy. But I love that you get that's called WAR.
Yeah.
Win above. I got to take that, man. I'm going to use that. What do I got to give you credit or somebody else?
You don't have to give me. You don't have to give me credit. But you learned something today here at Colts camp.
My spirit today, baby. I appreciate that being edified. That is good. That really is good. That really is.
I remember talking to D'Angelo Hall in the offseason about the guys that he had to face specifically in the NFC East, and I said, "What separates Odell from everybody else?" He said everything. He's stronger, he's faster, and he works harder. Now, we say that about so many guys. Oh, they work harder, they study more film. Odell really does do that. He does put in the work. Whether he's there at the organized team activities or he's in Los Angeles working out, he works harder than just about anybody else out there.
And it makes a difference. And I was reading some things where he was talking about spending time with Drake and how he's learned to be more focused on his game. He's trying to go to that next level. And whenever you get someone that's not just talking to the people, because he'll talk to me about what it takes to be great in football, but talks to other people in other worlds about what it takes to be great in their world, you know you have something special. And this kid is something special. I know we talk a lot about everything else with this kid. I just don't want us to lose what he does on the football field and how hard he works at what he does on the football field. The way he practices these one-hand catches, I tell people he's changed the game in that sense. Like Steph Curry has changed the game with three-point shots.
That's a good point.
Like three-point shots. We used to, in the day, you didn't try to catch the ball with one hand. You use one hand to tip the ball back down to you to try to catch it with both. He has taken it to the other level, like Steph Curry has taken a three-point shot to the other level. He said, no, I'm going to stop it and catch you with one hand, and he's done a great job at it.
Well, you talk about how special he is. I think it's interesting that Pat Shurmur went out of his way, flew out to Los Angeles to meet with Odell, to cultivate that relationship very early on in the process.
Self-survival.
Well, that's how you have to do it as a coach. You have to relate to your star players. On the flip side, you have a guy like John Gruden who reportedly hasn't talked to Khalil Mack since he's become the head coach of the Raiders. So they just have a very different philosophy. One maybe more old school, and Pat Shurmur maybe a little different his second time around as a head coach.
Right, but Gruden knows that, okay, if I don't talk to Khalil Mack, he comes in and he's angry. He's going to take that anger out on the quarterback. Anger is good for a defensive player. I can use that anger to help me. But anger is not good on an offensive player because I need him in sync with what's going on. I need him understanding what's going on. And that's why he handles that in a different manner, handles it differently. And you got to give kudos to him by saying, hey, man, with all the stuff that's swarming around about you getting traded, you may be out of here. I'm taking the time to come to you and say, hey, we are depending on you. I bet it meant the world.